Right, another video clip. Firstly, apologies for the camera shake and the noise towards the end of part 2 of my overview of Dark Imperium. It was due to a message coming through over Wi-Fi, Messenger I think. So I've switched the Wi-Fi off and shouldn't get interrupted by a mobile phone message because we don't really get much of a signal where I live. Because we live in the sticks, the Wi-Fi coverage is very poor, so that has determined to a degree that I need probably a better camera to give me a good picture but not such a large file size, and probably learn how to edit it better before I upload it, because our download speeds is only about 2.5 megabits per second, which is terrible. And so our upload speed is only a fraction of that. Anyway, that's that apology out of the way. So what I want to just cover on this clip is basing. What does everybody do about basing their figures? Now, Games Workshop for many years, most of their figures have used Slaughter bases. This one isn't, but it's a plastic base, and it's a very, very poorly painted Kroot, which I think I picked up at a tabletop sale somewhere, and I've got several of those. But to show you what happens with figures that have got overextended bits on them, that whenever you pick them up and put them down the surface, they've got this habit of falling over, or if you just touch them, they topple over readily because they've got no weight in the base. They're top heavy. What I've done with some of my figures, like this one, once again, was just picked up cheap, and I repainted it a little bit better. There's nothing fantastic. Is use metal washers, and then glued them to the metal washer. But metal washers that size work out dearer than 2p pieces, and I know many wargamers use 2p pieces. Now, there's some controversy over whether this constitutes defacing British currency, or if you're in America, American currency, and I think it's illegal over there. But the law states about destroying the coinage, the money, and we're not destroying it, we're just reutilising its purpose. So instead of paying for services or products, it's our money, we've earned it, and if you've earned it and haven't stolen it, it's yours to do with, as long as you don't destroy it. So based upon that, we can use 2p pieces. I don't think anyone's going to hang, draw and quarter us for doing so, as it possibly was once. Anyway, back to why base and why use 2p pieces, because, well, they're cheaper than buying washers. Now, one of the problems with 2p pieces, or one of the possible problems, is that if it's prior to 1992, dated 1992 coin, it will be not magnetic. You will not, if I can find one, I did look one aside earlier on, as you can see, that's a magnet, and it's not magnetized because it's not steel, whereas later 2p pieces are copper plated steel, so they have a steel core. This because the cost of the metal far exceeded what it was representing, so this is why we go to copper plated steel now, and it's a very, very thin copper plating, electroplating. So the first thing is that surface will be dirty, will have grime, grease, acid from your sweat in your hands on it, where it's been in people's pockets, been handled many times. Now, there's many ways you can, or several ways you can clean that up. You could do them batch method and put them into a tray, say like that, or something, or a saucer or a plate, and then just douse them with some vinegar, leave it overnight, wash them off, rinse them off the next day, and that will remove the grease. And of course, the more you touch it, the more you'll return that residue to them. But if you use them straight from there, they'll be degreased and therefore give a good keying surface. To improve one stage further, you can either use sandpaper, glass paper, emery paper, emery cloth, or these cheap nail files which you can buy in a pound shop Fun enough for £1, but I think you can probably buy them cheaper than that if you go to a car boot sale or something. I don't know what they call it in America, but we call car boot sales in this country. And I suppose really it would constitute that I am defacing the Queen's head if I actually do that and just rough up the surface with that. That's one method. Another is to use this product, which is by Rothenberger, which plumbers use for cleaning up copper pipe prior to soldering. And if anyone's tried soldering, if you don't clean your copper really well to remove all traces of grease, you will not get a good soldered joint. So using this stuff here, it's really quick. It's probably quicker than the nail file, and this will last you donkey's years. This stuff here, so that gives us a nice keying surface, and as long as you don't touch it much afterwards, that's ready for basing. Now on to gluing your figure together. Of course, if it's plastic, if it's resin or metal, this stuff, this is Contact to Professional by Revell, and that won't be any good on resin or metal figures, because this actually melts the plastic and you then get what's like a cold weld. It doesn't deposit a third-party substance to the surface. What I like about this particular glue and this particular manufacturer is this. This is brilliant. This needle applicator is absolutely fantastic. And believe it or not, I've had this bottle, which is still probably about a third full, since about 1994. And when I was putting kits together. And yes, I have stuck many figures with it. Probably in excess of 500 or 600 figures have been put together with this, and it's still going. Why? Because you hardly use any of it. And this needle applicator, I haven't seen in any other product. It may exist, but I've not encountered it. The Games Workshop product has a nozzle similar to the applicator you get on super glue, and I find even with that you can overuse it. You can leave such a huge blob. So that's what I was going to attempt to show you here, is that how little you actually put on there. If I've cleaned the nozzle, did I? Yes, I did. There we go. So I think hopefully you can see that there's just a little blob there, and there is one blob there. That's as much as you need. So you can see there 2 basic drops was needed. And shall I stick this weapon? I think we'll probably have one. I've dry fitted this before to make sure that it does fit there. And as you can see, there's still a little bit of residue there, so we'll wipe that away quite quickly before it starts to affect that, and this evaporates very, very quickly. So any residue, as you can see, hopefully the joint there where the wrist is, you hardly see any glue coming out at all, and what is left there, once dry, you won't notice it much, and once it's been primed, then you won't see it at all. So that, I think, is a superior product for that reason, that you barely put any on. We'll leave the backpack for now. What I'm going to show you then is the slotter base. So the slotter base comes, as you know, hollow underneath apart from the slot through there. I try dry fitting them. If there's any flashing there, which sometimes you get, once again, this wonderful cheap nail file gets rid of that very, very quickly, cleans it up. And sometimes you get a little nodule there in the moulding process, which you can just nip off and make sure that's not sticking up. It shouldn't get in the way, but to make it look a bit neater, you can get rid of that. And same again with this applicator, a couple of drops there on his feet, and then run it along. And the control you've got with this compared to a nozzle on some of the applicators, and that can go in there then. I think I've done this the wrong way round, but anyway, there we are. Because what I was going to show you is how I fill the base, but we'll do that separately, won't we, Brian? Yes, we will. So let's get another one of those out. Full. Even when you write a list down to try and prompt yourself or do it in the right order, you still make mistakes. I don't know, amateurs. As you can see there, hopefully there's a little bit of flashing on that. You could run the knife along it, but just clearing that will do that there. What I do then is I just push it onto a bit of blue tack. Other tacky stuff is available. I know I'm mentioning these product knowledge. Put your cover back on your needle so that doesn't dry in there, and block that up. And then what I use is this stuff here, which is just No More Nails, or there are many other similar quick tack glues you can use. Just put a drop in there, enough that it just extends beyond the surface. Put your cover back on so that doesn't dry out in the nozzle. Hang it back up. So hopefully you can see then, they'll put it in the blue tack, it just holds it in place so it doesn't stick all over the place. As you can see there, it's just sticking above the surface. You've got your nice freshly cleaned 2p piece. You centrally align it and you press it down. Job done. Half an hour, max hour later, that'll be solid. And that's what I meant to do with that before I stuck the marine in there. But we'll show you one I did earlier, which of course you can see from here, a very large heavy weapon marine, and oh, very good, he fell over nicely. But you know, you can place this down quite abruptly, and compared to that, which will just keep falling over all the time. So it just gives you that bit of stability. So hopefully that's not too much teaching Grandmaster Suck Eggs to some out there. But well, yes, we can compare it to that one, which is quite stable, but easily toppled over because of its centre of gravity is high compared to the metal base provided by the 2p piece. But of course you could use, and of course the purpose of magnetising is you could use Magnasheet then, sheets of magnetised sticky back material, which you can stick down inside your carry case, a cheap toolbox case or something like that, and then of course this will adhere to it and shouldn't shake around. So much better than that, which obviously doesn't work at all, and then you've got to buy probably more expensive cases with foam inserts and that with cutouts to put those in, which is nothing wrong with, but it's just a bit more money. And once you add this all up, things start mounting up and you can be spending several £100 or hundreds or thousands of dollars on stuff just to keep your figures looking nice. And there's always a cheaper way, and sometimes a better way of achieving the same results. So enough waffle on this, but that's all I wanted to say about that, and bring you up to date with where I was trying to do with my video coverage. I'm still an amateur, which you're probably fully aware of watching this, but if I can make a hang of this, there are many other little tips and things I've picked over the years. I wouldn't mind sharing if that's of any use to anybody. Okay, so thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Everyone take care.